Yo, what up, Street Dogs? Eric Kim. All right, so some turbo thoughts. So what is one of my life missions? So actually, one of my life missions is very simple. I want to encourage more people to become free-spirited, free-minded, and to essentially think more for themselves. So what do I mean by that? So the worst thing about just society in general is everyone's trained, programmed, domesticated, bred to think, behave, act a certain way. And who does this benefit? It benefits the state, it benefits institutions, corporations, but very rarely does it actually benefit the private individual like you or me. And nice photo. So very rarely does it actually benefit the private individual, which is you and me. And I think in life it's far better where, you know, individuals can and should have maximum amount of personal autonomy over their lives, how they act. I'm kind of like a fan of this like deontic libertarianism that Nassim Taleb advocates for, which is like a duties-based libertarianism. Libertarianism meaning just maximal amount of freedom, liberties. Obviously not governmental intervention, because obviously there's some governmental interventions which are good, but for the most part to try to limit governmental meddling in private lives is generally my basic vibes. Now, you know, probably one of the most useful things that I got from studying sociology was to unlearn all these biases and stuff that I had. But also, one of the problems about even studying sociology at like higher education is that sociology also, and I mean all fields of study in higher education, it all kind of tries to get you to think a certain type of way too. So even in sociology, the general bias is it's all social. There's no biology to it, which I think is kind of a little bit misguided. And so, you know, I believe, you know, just with human nature, there's obviously some biology and there's some sociological aspects to it, but we shouldn't discount one or the either. I think the problem with modern thinking right now is people think it's all social, it's all socially constructed, but no, there's obviously some biology to it. But anyways, because there's a reason why humans think, act differently than do dogs, and for good reason. But anyways, so continue the story. So why be a free thinker, and what are the upsides of free thinking? So these are just like my general thoughts and notions. So it looks like the upsides of being a free thinker is that you just live a happier, more productive, epic life, and you could just create, do, say as you please. And so certainly to be human is to, you know, have maximal autonomy over ourselves. And if you really want to augment your own personal self to the maximum, the more freedom you have, the better. And this is where I think people kind of get suckered, is they think that in order to have freedom you need money. That's actually not necessarily true, because I mean, this is a very extreme example, but you could be kind of like one of those weird homeless vagabond wanderer type of people and have 100% freedom. Obviously you won't have things like clean showers and stuff like that, but still you have your freedom. So you just got to ask yourself, like, what am I willing to pay for my freedom? What am I willing to sacrifice for my freedom? And even if you think about the ancient Spartans, who are probably one of the most, you know, free societies in general, and you know, even the Spartans probably weren't that free, in the sense that the Spartans had to listen to the government. But you know, obviously we humans were not meant to live alone, we were meant to live in society. But I do like the idea of a society where everyone has maximal autonomy over self, beliefs, freedom of expression, religion, spirituality, and so forth. And this is actually, I think, one of the founding principles of why Roger Williams made Providence for, you know, political not just political, but spiritual and governmental based freedoms. So it's kind of interesting because now when they're talking about apparently there's some talks about COVID where the government is suspending some sort of individual liberties to prevent the spread of the virus and stuff like that. And the question is whether that's justified or not. Now my thought is, it's not a matter of it being justified or not. I'm more interested in the cause and effect of side of things and whether it's going to actually change and impact my personal life. So, you know, if you really don't like the way that the government is doing, obviously the simple things to do is vote, encourage your friends and family to vote and stuff like that, and to elect people who you want to see elected. And also, I mean, this is kind of more practical too. If you want to see a certain change, maybe you should run for a governor or senator or congressperson or state mayor, or run on the local levels and then try to get people to vote for you. And you know, obviously, like, for the most part, whoever got the most monies will probably show up on top, but I still don't think that should deter you from at least trying. But anyways, so, you know, you think about freedom and liberty, and it just kind of comes down to, like, what do you believe in? Like, do you personally care for your freedom and your liberty? I think a lot of people actually, at least here in America, a lot of people actually don't. I think they kind of follow more of the utilitarian British notions of, you know, we want peace, comfort, you know, make sure that nobody steals from you or commits harm to you or your friends or your family and stuff like that. So I think most people, they think the role of a government is for softness. Nice house. They think that the role of a government is to give people a safe, comfortable life, but once again, I don't think that's what it is. We want a life of the most independence, freedom, and, you know, once again, for me, if I could choose my freedom and live a life of extreme want, deprivation, and pain, I would still choose that over a life of slavery or not being able to express myself. So I don't know, people, I think the problem with institutions, governments, nobody got skin in the game. I mean, in the past, right, like the forefathers of America, they literally picked up guns and they're like, yo, you British dudes, we ain't having this. We're gonna actually try to fight y'all off and kill you guys if we want to stand up for our liberties and freedom of speech and stuff like that. And so once again, I think a good primer of this is reading Nassim Taleb's Skin in the Game. And also to read Friedrich Nietzsche, any of his books on morality, on the genealogy of morals or beyond good and evil, to realize that all morality, at least in modern times, it tends to aim towards like kind of the Judeo-Christian utilitarian mindsets. And once you could at least understand how the game is being played and how society works, then we could kind of look at it and stare with ourselves in our own eyes and say, hey, is this right for me? Is this not right for me? And if it's not right for me, what am I going to do to change it?